guys, happy Saturday. I hope your day is going well so far. Wherever you may be at on this side of the globe, I am wishing you a great day. So what I wanted to do was do a recap of last week. Last week was an absolute trash for me. It was not a good week at all. And so, what I want to do is just, as far as I'm able to go back, I would like to see how many times did my trading strategy show up in the markets and where I had no other choice but to follow my rules, right? So if you are new to this channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe and like button so that way I am able to continue with trading content. All right, so for the strategy two in the chamber, basically what I am looking for in order to take this strategy, the first thing is 15 minutes of the session must go by. Okay. Once the 15 minutes has passed, then I can start looking for a setup. What I am looking for is for that session to create a new high or to create a new low. So right now, this is the 5 minute chart. And this would be yesterday, Friday the 21st. And this is the session. So just rewind real quick. Um, I use a strategy, not a strategy, an indicator on TradingView. You go to indicators right here and type in kill zones by TradeOp. Okay. So you just click on that and it will um, break down the sessions. So again, this is NQ that I trade. This is NASDAQ futures. NASDAQ futures NQ NASDAQ. All right. So this kill zone, it breaks down these sessions. Okay. So here is Friday, yesterday, and this is considered the PM session. Okay. This purple box. Next, we have the AM session, which is here, this green box. And then this right here is considered lunch session. All right. And let's see. This right here, so when it's not in a box, that means that it is it could either be lunch, pre-market, or Globinex. All right. So this area right here, this will be considered part of it would be London session, but this part right here in the morning. So I'm in PST time zone. So pre-market for EST would be 4 a.m. 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then we have London. So this red box is London session. Okay. And then this blue box is Asia session. And then this right here is considered Globinex. All right. So boom. Uh, so going back, this is yesterday's PM session. And what I'm looking for is for the first 15 minutes of the session to go by, right? And then once the first 15 minutes have gone, then I am looking for my trading setup. And so we have New York PM session begins at 10:30 PST. That's my time. And we have our first 15 minutes have gone by. All right. So what I'm looking for is for a new session high to print above this, but close red, or I am looking for anything below here and close green, but create a new session high. So if I'm following my trade setup, we did not have that, right? We did create a new session low, but it did not close green. It closed red. However, the trade did work out, right? So this next candle right here, it didn't produce a new low. And so because of that, I was unable to take this trade. Right here we have equal highs. So this is just another trading strategy, but that worked out beautifully, that equal high setup. All right, so let's move along. All right. AM session. So market opens at 6:30 PST. Wait for the first 15 minutes. And on this candle right here, let's move this over. On this candle right here, it created a new session low and it closed green. Okay. So with that being said, the idea would be, so this green candle, it created a new low and it closed green. So what you would do, you would mark out the top of that candle, okay? And when you have a candle to cross above this candle's high, then you would jump into your trade. And your stop would go below this candle here. And however, whatever your TP is, usually you'll try to go for like a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2, whatever it is, your desired take profit amount. That's what you would do. So I'm going to mark out on here with a circle. Now this is Friday. Okay. So we have, it showed up, that trading strategy showed up at least once during market session, New York session. All right. So let's move along. And this is London. Now London is overnight. So if you are you stay up, throughout the night, you possibly could catch a decent setup during London session. But let's see if this actually showed up. So here we go. We have London session, the start of it. All right. So right here, we'll move this over a little bit. So this is the first 15 minutes of London session. So I will be looking for, a candle, a new session high above this candle right here. Okay. And it is followed by 2 green. And then here we go right here. So we have a new session high and it closed red. So immediately when the next candle crosses below this candle, I would jump into a trade, put your stop above this high. And again, for whatever your TP is, So on here, 2987. So for me, the risk to reward on here, I don't think it's that great, because as you see, it came down, but it didn't stay down. We couldn't get a candle closure below this candle right here to create a session low, right? So it wouldn't have, you would have been able to get a little bit in terms of profit, but this could have very well went against you because you're expecting for it to drop lower, right? And to create a new session low. So this technically it worked and technically it didn't work. But for this recording, I'm just going to go ahead and put that like this. And let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this. So we have show up here, once here. Now let's see another one. We don't have. Now look at this one right here. So it created a new session high, but it closed green. And it didn't follow 2 green candles. So it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked, right? And then, so we don't have anything else. So for London session, this was kind of a flop. All right, let's move on. And again, this is Friday. Let's move on to Thursday. All right, so here we have Asia session. Asia session opens at 5 p.m. PST. Here is the first 15 minutes of the session. So this candle right here marks off the first 15 minutes. So what I will be looking for is a new session low, but closing bullish green. And as you see, we don't have anything here, and we don't have anything here either. Look at this. It created a new session high. It did close bearish. However, it wasn't followed. You know, you need at least 2 to 3 in this case green candles first, and then for this new high to be created and to close red. So because it did not, now this is me following my setup, right? Because it did not show itself like that, I could not take the trade. Although it worked, the trade worked itself out, as you see. It worked itself out. So nothing here for Asia session, and this is Thursday. All right. Okay, so this right here is New York PM session. Let's see. All right, so this candle right here represents the first 15 minutes. We have a new session high that was created, and it closed bearish. So this actually would have worked. So let me put this here. And so this is this 10:50 a.m. candle. It created a new session high for the session, closed bearish. So what you would have done is put a horizontal line there, and when the next candle crosses below, you would enter into that trade. You will put your stop above this candle's high. And again, whatever your TP is, this actually would have been a very, very beautiful trade, because essentially this went down, let's see, so 29,301, and you could have wrote this down all the way to 29,227. That right there is over, let me see, so 15. That's about what? That's about 60, 70 points. 67, this is a beautiful trade. And this was on Thursday. Now here's the thing. I typically only trade this particular strategy during Asia session. And the reason why that is because New York session just, it's too much volatility. And like, to be able to take a trade like this, I could go into it with a micro contract, but I do trade minis. Minis probably isn't a good idea to trade on a 25 account because of the volatility. And so I could have possibly switched over to micros, and maybe that's something that I would do next time, because it did show up during New York AM session, and it was a beautiful, beautiful trade, as you see. All right, so we have two. And then let's look at London. London session. We have the first, oh, this is New York. I'm sorry. This is New York still. All right, so we have, and look at the candles. Look at the wicks. This is how you know, like, it's so much freaking volatility. It's choppy price action. I mean, this type of stuff right here just really destroys you. It really does. And if you are not, it's easy to get sucked into this chop. I'm just going to say that. It is easy to get sucked into this, and it happens, right? It's all a part of trading. But whatever the case may be, we have the first 15-minute candle right here. And then, so what I will be looking for is either a new low or a new high to be created thereafter. But in terms of a new low, it has to close green. And so, boom, right here at 7:20, we do have a new low that was created, and it did close green. And so what you would wait for is for a candle to close above. Now, see, this is the reason why it did not work out. And again, it's the volatility. That means that I would have had to wait for 20 minutes for the next candle to cross above this, but then it failed. Look at this next candle. That means that you would have had to sit in all of this drawdown, and only to get, let's see, the risk to reward. The risk to reward just simply isn't even there. Um, it's just not there. We have 415. So for about 30, 40 points, and you're risking way, like you're risking 100 points, like it just isn't there. It wasn't worth it. Um, so this is a no-go.
Rental cars are mid-sized or similar. Cars are all about
Now look at
details.
this right
Rental
here.
cars
This is
are
pre-market.
details. It's cool. You can pick the exact car you want and pick it up
This
exactly
is
where you want,
pre-market.
right here or even way out here, but never anywhere.
And
No one wants to be
this was
here
at
or here to
5:35.
rent a car. Not a
The session
professional.
created a new low during pre-market and necessarily didn't close. It closed, even though it's red, this is a bullish, it's an indecisive candle, but it's also a rejection candle, right? And so although it closed red, it was still bullish. It created a new low. So what you could have done was wait for the next candle. You could have played it two ways. If your next candle closed green, you could have waited for your next candle to close green and then jump into the trade, right? Or you could have just jumped into the trade once this candle crossed the Elveric. And this actually worked out to be a beautiful trade. Let me get rid of these lines here. Keep that one. And get rid of this one. So this one actually worked, and this was pre-market. This is pre-market. All right, and then let me just do this. Okay. This is still Thursday. All right. All right, so this is London. Well, that's so you can see. So this is London session. Here we go. First 15 minutes. So again, we're looking for a session, a new session high or a low to close either bearish or bullish. Here we do have a session, new session high, and it closed as an indecision candle. So what you could have done was basically wait for the next candle and see how it closed. and it closed as an indecision candle as well, but it closed bearish. And so what you could have done was put a line there, and when that candle, probably put your stop above the other previous candle's high. And when you had a candle cross below, this actually worked out very beautiful. Wow, look at this. So you would have jumped into the trade up here and just rolled it all the way down. So what time did this show up? This was at 00. Wow. So at 12 it showed up, and you could have held this for an hour and a half, and that would have been an insane profit. So we'll put that right there. Now this is London. All right, let's move on. This is Asia session, okay? So we have Asia here, boom, boom. All right, we have the first 15 minutes created. Let's get rid of these lines. Let's get rid of this. And this is Wednesday. Just Asia session was very bad price action. You could just look at the candles. Let me show you. So something like this, right? This right here is smooth. Look how the candles lay, or how they're placed, right? And then compared to this, look how horrible that is. Just very, 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 very choppy. Very, very choppy. And again, I trade the Asia session. So it just wasn't a good trading day at all for Wednesday. But whatever the case may be, for the video, as you see, new session high created. However, if I'm following my own setup guidelines, I wouldn't have been able to take this trade. Even though it created a new high, we don't have 2 or 3 bullish candles, right? And then it didn't close bearish either. Okay. Although it did work, but you see how close that, if I would have jumped into that trade, right? If I would have jumped it, it wouldn't be considered a risky trade. Put my stop above this candle high. Look how close it would have came to me being stopped out. We're literally talking 2 points. 2 points of being stopped out. 2 points. Yeah, so that just just wasn't a good setup there. All right, so it did create a new high. Okay, so let's go here. Do we have anything? So again, if I'm looking for a new session low, I would need for something to be below this candle right here, and we have absolutely nothing. Nothing there. Okay, nothing there. Same thing for this would be New York session, nothing here. This is before New York session again. Boom, we do have something here. So the session it created, well, actually this is exactly at 7:15. So kind of funny. I mean, again, another risky trade. We do have a session, a new low. It barely created a new low, but it did create a new low, and it closed green. So you could have waited for this candle here, or a candle to cross above this candle, and your stop will be below here. So again, something like this, you would have to, take this trade using micros instead of minis, because your account just would not be able to hold the amount of drawdown that you would have to sit through. And as you see, that candle came close, right down here, close to where your stop is at, right? And that's a lot of drawdown for New York session, very volatile. But for the video's sake, you would have waited for a candle to cross above, and the risk to reward definitely would have been there if you were able to sit through the drawdown, and then all this would be drawdown. This is all considered drawdown. But as you see, once it passed that, it never came back below. Okay? It never came back below. And you could have wrote this baby all the way up. She's 150, 200 points. So we're going to go ahead and risky trade, but a beautiful, it worked out very much so. So let's erase this one. All right, moving along. Alrighty, so we have, this is London session. First, you got, based off of the guidelines, have to wait for the first 15 minutes. However, we have a new session low that was created 10 minutes after the session opened, and it actually would have worked absolutely freaking beautifully. Now, if I was going to go against my own rules, this would have worked. Again, you would have waited. And the reason why, look at this, we have two bearish candles, followed by a new low, and it closed green, right? And so you will put your stop below this candle, wait for the next candle to close above, and you could have rolled this. My goodness. This right here, 448, again, another between 1 and 200 points up. Absolutely beautiful trade. Look at this one. We have a new session high. However, we don't have 2 to 3 green candles prior to, but it closed red. Again, this would have been a risky trade. I mean, you could have jumped into it, right? But look how close it would have been for you getting stopped out. Literally 1 point away. 1 point away. But again, it worked, and you could have wrote this down close to 100 points. Wow. All right, so let's get rid of these lines. And this is London session. All right, let's see what else we have. All right, we have Asia session. Okay, so Asia session open here, first 15 minutes. So within, what I would be looking for again is a new session low or a new session high. We do have here. All right, so this possibly could have worked. We have a new session high here. It closed bearish. So you could have let's see, put the candle here, put your stop here. Now you wouldn't have been able, but again, hindsight is 20/20, right? So you would have to use that instinct to know when to get out. But you could have at least gotten, let's see, 67, about 30 points. 30 points on this trade. You wouldn't have been able to hold it because, as you see, it went back. It went on above, and it created another session high. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and mark this out for the video. So that did show up in this trade. It's Asia session. Next Tuesday. All right. So let's go through and count. So for Asia session 1, for London session 2, for New York session, so let's see, this is Tuesday 1. So for Tuesday, we have, it showed up at least twice. For Wednesday, we have that it showed up at least once during New York. For Thursday, it showed up at least once, and that's for London. It also showed up pre-market, and then it showed up Thursday for New York PM session once. It showed up for London Thursday, and then it showed up for New York AM session once. So for me, and when I trade Asia session. So it did not show up for me on Thursday during Asia sessions. And this is me following my own rules. It did not show up again for me on Wednesday Asia session. It did show up Tuesday. So of all the days, my trading strategy during that time frame showed up once. So it was not a good trading week at all for this strategy. But strategy did show up, and I want to say that it looks like it showed up more in London session. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Wow. So this trading strategy showed up for every London session of this week. And let's see for New York. 1, 2, and 3. So it showed up 3 times in New York session. All right, guys, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And thank you guys so much for your support. And I will be back with another video. Thanks, guys.